Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue unpacking some shelter-related characters. Mian is this top roof with a chimney. That's a human shelter in general. Of course, it can be all the way from palace or a humble home of sorts. So now today we have this character underneath. If you know Chinese a little bit, this is shu. That means uncle. In particular, the younger sibling of your dad. Okay, so that's the character beneath that. So what is uncle doing underneath the shelter, under roof? Well, the whole thing is pronounced different as ji, and it means silent. So how this connection works of why this uncle under roof all of a sudden becomes silent? Okay, we have to unpack what this original meaning is. This part without, this is a three-finger hand symbol. Okay, so simplified, traditional looks exactly the same, and this part was later added on. 2,000 years ago's version, it doesn't have this three-finger hand symbol attached to it. And by itself, pronounced as a shu, and it means kind of a beans. So we know Chinese are rice eater, but we were not rice eater from the beginning. We mostly consumed millets, this yellow little beets thing, and until rice became the main carb source. But at the same time, we also have beans in our cuisine a lot. We know tofu, right? And anything that relates to the products from beans. We have so many different varieties of form factors, of flavors. So yeah, bean eater was also, a big deal in China. So this is this beans character. If you know rice or grains, because rice was the mostly consumed grain type, and then when we look at mi, it almost like always point to rice, but mi not necessarily just mean rice. It could be all grain food. If you remember how mi was written, it's the same structure of this cross, and then we have 4 individual grains on each of the quadrants. And that was grains because it was a classification of the grade level of, the quality, therefore the pricing of the grains. And the grains were used to be, this crop that families would produce, sell, and pay their tax in ancient times. So classification of grains was big deal, and eventually that classification was used to mean the grains itself. Now, this top 2 grains were gone, and then we have this horizontal line attached to that. If we look only the top portion of it, it means actually the top, or shang, the above imagery, if we regard this horizontal line as the benchmark, where you're comparing it to on top of what. That what is this horizontal line, and then you have this pointer of pointing upward, and then this originally was diagonal line to give you the not only sitting on top of it, but going upward as well. So this means above and upward. Both can be static or dynamically going above something. This is the something, this comparison. So this above something of the rice, that's if we look at above and the grains, that could be ancient evaluation of different food stores that beans were regarded as more precious, more nutritious somehow, or more expensive than the grains. We don't know. But we know from just visually this as a differentiator intentionally remove the 2 top grains and then place this horizontal line there to create a visual differentiation, but also give it a sense of it's somewhat related because it's type of major food source. Okay, so this bin plus the three-finger hand symbol, that's almost like food processing, right? And I would imagine ancient times, the younger siblings from your dad's side probably would do a lot of that, because the major labors were probably farm fields, right? That's like stronger, bigger boys. And when it's younger boys, probably they would do this more menial labor in preparation of food. So apparently ancient times, the food preparation within the household was a big thing, right? Different roles in the household were assigned to different tasks. And probably all this is my guesswork, that younger brothers were more assigned to the bean processing. And so the role of this younger uncle from your dad's side became this character, the shu. Okay, so now why this bean processing by hand under the roof becomes silent? My guess was probably oftentimes the shu, when they were doing this work, they were not speaking, they were not chatty. So this just long silent time to process the bean, I guess, food processing, domestic food processing scene under the roof. And that's mostly nonverbal, non-talkative, because it's handwork. And that's probably why that's silent. Simply means there are humans in presence, but nobody is talking. Okay, we have 寂寞, which is kind of the Chinese equivalent of lonely. And lonely here defined by both the audio, like silent, nobody's talking, and the mo, the sun setting moment. The light went out. So ancient times, unless you have to burn oil or something, oil lamp, mostly the sundown means it's bedtime. No much nightlife going on. So this is a visual and this is audio cues to mean low activity or no activity is bedtime thing. And that was the Chinese 寂寞. Simply means like it's not fun time anymore. Like you don't have the light, you don't have nobody talking, and it's time to stay to yourselves. So that's lonely. 寂静. So now we have the silent plus equanimity. 静 is the ability to keep balanced in spite of different struggles. In fact, the right side here is struggle. So it's this battling power between different attributes or conflicts in your mind, right? But then you can come to peace, and that's equanimity. When we have silent plus equanimity, 寂静, that simply means almost like a blissful silence. Okay, 圆寂 is a Buddhism term that 圆 means circle and 寂 silent. Basically, it gives a name or descriptor of what it means to pass away for very accomplished or wise monks at the end of their life. Because according to Buddhism, there was this what's the word for it? It's like rebirth again and again. It's a cycle, right? Life, death, kind of, you're going to come to the next life, probably in another form, a different gender or something, right? But if you're a monk and you, not exactly monk, but if you gain wisdom and enough to get away from this continuous cycle of life and death, and that's a full circle, you were able to join within this one lifetime, and then you are going to go to finally enjoy that blissful silence. You're going to come to peace with who you are, and it kind of completed in a full circle. And that's the descriptor of that. So here we go. Silent. 寂. Thank you for your time. See you another day.